Before you listen to today's story, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel to support us. Hi everyone, I'm Lily. I'm a pretty stout girl. Well, to be honest, you could call me a beast. Before, I had a hot body that made people love me, including my ex-boyfriend, Brian. He was a fitness trainer who took care of his appearance, sometimes even mine. I started to lose control of my weight when I started working at a bakery in the city. Brian reminded me about watching how much I ate, that I didn't care because I still thought it wouldn't affect our love. I loved cakes so much. I kept eating them, and my weight also started increasing day by day. I got fatter, but Brian and I were still happy. So it was not a big deal for me to gain weight. My life went on as normal until one day, Brian and I was invited to a Christmas party where Brian worked. I was so excited and looking forward to this day. I would be getting to meet Brian's friends and colleagues. That day, I got up very early to do my makeup and chose a beautiful prom dress to wear. But when I put it on, I struggled to zip it up. My weight was starting to become a problem. Oh my God, I have nothing to wear. I looked in the mirror and shouted.
I have reminded you many times about your weight.
Brian looked at me dejectedly. I tried a bunch of different dresses. I couldn't zip one. Another had just been worn and threads were coming loose. The damn fat drove me crazy. I looked in the mirror, looked at my body, and wished to have my sexy body back. I went to Brian and sobbed. I don't fit to any dress. Will you?
You will stay at home today. I feel that you're not in a good mood. I will introduce you to my colleagues another day. I have to go before I'm late.
Brian patted my head comfortingly and quickly left before I could react to his words. Will you take me to buy a new dress? That's what I was going to tell him. But he was gone. I angrily kicked the clothes and I had been trying on and put them in the kitchen. I had to find something to eat to make me feel better. Eating was an easy way to lift my spirits. I regained my mood very quickly, but I was quickly disheartened by a photo that my friend worked with Brian sent me. Brian and a strange girl were kissing passionately. What was going on? What was their relationship? I immediately called Brian, but he didn't pick up. I had no time to think. I quickly put on a shirt and rushed to the place where Brian's company held the party. When I got there, I saw Brian holding hands with the girl in the photo. They talked very affectionately. I ran over in frustration, but unfortunately slipped, fell into the sweet and dessert table, causing the table to fall to pieces. I was no better either, covered in cake. People laughed and began to whisper insults. Look at her! She's too fat!
She's too fat to grab a cake table.
Why does our gym have a fat person like her? Were people talking and laughing about my body? I started to feel ashamed. I tried to look around. I wish at that time Brian would save me, but he would protect me from everyone's cruel words. And finally, Brian went to. I looked imploringly at Brian. Brian?
Why did we invite such a fat person to come here today? Do we have to help her abstain from squeeze?
After Brian's words, everyone laughed louder. Honey, how can you say that to the girl? She will feel self-pity because of that. The hot girl cooed to Brian.
It's okay, my love. We're motivating her to lose weight.
Brian held the girl in his arms and kissed her lightly on the cheek. What had I just seen and heard? Honey? And they kissed? Brian was also making fun of my body. Why didn't he help me get up? Why did he let people laugh at me? Why did he pretend he didn't know me? Why did he even have another girl? Was I too fat? I looked around. Everyone had an attractive, beautiful body. I looked at myself, a sloppy, fat body. I covered my face and ran away. I wanted to run away from here. I ran out of the party and got into a taxi parked outside. Take me away from here. Anywhere, please. Then the car drove away. I sat in the car crying for a long time until I fell asleep. I didn't know when the car stopped. I woke up and was startled to see that the car was parked on the beach. The driver had disappeared. I got out of the car and found him smoking anxiously. Sorry for being a nuisance.
Are you better?
Today, some people make fun of me because I'm too fat. My boyfriend left me because of that.
I think you have someone to sympathize with. This, look.
As he spoke, he turned his heavy body towards me. Only then did I notice him. Indeed, he was a little overweight. He clutched a photo in his hand and looked wistfully off into the distance. But wait, the picture. That girl? Is that your girlfriend? I took the photo and asked him.
That's right. She's my girlfriend. Actually, my ex-girlfriend. We just broke up this morning.
She's my boyfriend's new girlfriend. He was silent and said nothing. He burst into tears. I didn't know what to do. I just sat and listened to him cry for a long, long time.
Do you want to lose weight? We'll lose weight together. We're going to make them open their eyes more widely because of leaving us.
Right. I had to make Brian regret leaving me. I would lose weight and I would be as beautiful as I used to be. Me and Peter, his name, became weight loss buddies. In the morning, we went to the gym together. At first, I was confused about how all the equipment worked. However, Peter enthusiastically guided me to like a personal trainer. He also made a detailed and meticulous meal plan for me. Peter was always positive and had much energy. He cheered me on when I felt tired and wanted to give up. Over the course of a few months, Peter still hadn't changed. Meanwhile, my weight dropped very quickly, losing 10 kilograms, losing 20 kilograms, and finally, I was ready to see my heartless ex again, and it just so happened to be his birthday. I dressed well. Before going to the party, I even took a picture and sent it to Peter with a message. He'd better watch out. I went to the party confidently, walking into the middle of the room in front of everyone's admiring glances. But because I was busy looking for Brian, I had forgotten to tie my shoelaces. I stepped on my shoelace and fell forward. A tall boy rushed to catch me. I clung to him and sighed. This arm is so toned, I thought to myself. This fragrance. I was startled. This scent was so familiar. My memories came rushing back. I looked up at the man holding me in his arms. It was Brian. Brian helped me up, and very quickly, he got down on one knee to tie my shoelaces. Memories of the first day I met Brian came back. Also, a year-end party when my shoe slipped. While I was struggling, not knowing what to do, Brian appeared. He knelt on the ground and gently put on my shoe button again. From that moment, all around me was pink, and my heart was beating up. I fell in love, and we started our relationship from that day. While I was still immersed in the past, Brian's call woke me up.
Lily, is that you? You look great.
I jerked away. Suddenly, music started playing, and the couples began dancing. Brian said,
Would you like to dance with me?
Brian invited me to dance with him. I didn't hesitate to take his hand and dance. The feelings of love were coming back to me. I was falling in love with Brian again. While we were dancing, he whispered in my ear,
Lily, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Let's get back together. I promise I won't let you sad again.
Although I knew Brian had treated me badly, at that time I was soft-hearted. Maybe he knew he was wrong. Maybe I should give him a second chance. After the party was over that night, I took Brian back to my house. As soon as I reached the door, I found Peter waiting at my door. I quickly chased him away. I didn't want him to ruin my moment with Brian. We thought Peter was going to leave and give us space, but no. When we were about to re-enter the house, Peter rushed over and punched Brian hard.
Bester, you're a jerk! You treat her like that and still want to get back with her?
At that time, I went crazy. I rushed over to push Peter over and help Brian up. I shouted at Peter, "What the hell are you doing? Why did you hit him? What right do you have to hit him? I told you to go already. I want you to disappear from my sight." So Peter left. I suddenly felt a little disappointed, but I had other things to think about. I felt sorry for Brian. It was my fault he got hit. I helped Brian into the house and went to get him something for his wound. Seeing his bruises, my heart ached. I lightly touched it and blew. Maybe this would make it hurt less. At that moment, our eyes met. He brought his hand up to my lips, and we were quickly drawn together like moths to a flame. Brian and I had a very passionate night. The next morning, I was woken up with the ringing of the phone. It was my habit to answer it every morning to go exercise with Peter. "Brian, where were you last night? Why didn't you come home? I was so worried about you." The shock brought me to my senses. I looked at the phone. The call was from Honey. Suddenly, Brian also woke up. I held the phone up in front of him. He quickly grabbed the phone and threw it aside. He kissed my forehead.
Lily, you are really a lot more beautiful than you were 2 months ago.
"Who is Honey?"
She's just a friend of mine.
"A friend that knows you didn't come home all night? Why does she take care of you? Your friendship is so special, isn't it?"
Don't make a fuss. I said she was just a friend.
"Is that all I am to you? I'm your friend too, huh?"
You have to stop. Now that you're losing weight and pretty again, you think you can just do what you want? Do you remember when you got fat? Remember how ugly you were and how everyone made fun of you? You should be grateful that I'm willing to take you back.
Turns out, I used to be ugly in his eyes. Turns out, he came to me yesterday just because he saw my temporary beauty. He's a real jerk. A complete a-hole. I kicked him out of my house, and I didn't want to see him any longer. Why didn't I listen to Peter? How had love blinded me? I forgot what my original weight loss goal was. Revenge on the evil ex-Brian. Yet, just a few sweet words from him, and I was putty in his hands. I even kicked out Peter when he tried to help. Peter was always nice to me like that. What had I done? I ran to find Peter. I went to his house but didn't see him. I went to the gym and also didn't see him anywhere. I went to the park where we used to go jogging together. There were no results. And then, I caught him eating cake at the bakery where I worked. "Peter, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I should have listened to you. He really is a bad guy. I will never see him again." "Peter, say something. You can call me stupid." Peter didn't say anything. He just silently scooped up each piece of cake. I angrily snatched the cake towards me. "Why do you keep eating? Don't you think you're fat enough?" Peter quietly stood up and left. I realized I had crossed the line. I wanted to run after to explain, but got a cold slap from Peter.
Right, I'm fat. I'm too fat to be worthy of you. You're too beautiful for me.
And just like that, I was alone again. I realized that only having a good appearance can't make me happy. Happiness exists in the simple little things, but I hadn't paid attention to it. It was Peter's concern for me from the first day I met him when I was still fat. It was his companionship during my weight loss process. It was his encouragement. I get back to work. I continued my passion in the bakery, trying cakes, and my weight very quickly increased uncontrollably. I continued to get fat. The stout body of a few months ago began to return, but I didn't care much. because I felt happy to be myself as I am now. And then I met Peter again. I apologized to Peter and used up all my courage to express my feelings for him. I didn't want to lose a man who gave me true happiness. The man who helped me understand that happiness does not come from looks.
How much time till we board?
Ma'am, just another.
Hey, have you ever considered yourself smarter than everyone around you? To be honest, I've always felt that every member of my family is foolish but me. There is nothing to laugh. On the contrary, it is very tiring.
Oh, let me introduce myself first. My name is Zoe, 7 years old. Please like and subscribe and listen to what I have to say.
From the outside, my family looks normal. I have a father, mother, and an older brother. Everyone live in harmony with each other and love me immensely. As for me, who really lives in this house that every day passing is unstable. And it is me who is not only normal smart, but extremely intelligent, who solves all problems before they even happen. This morning, I was awoken at 6 o'clock by a loud noise. I went down to the living room and saw my mother standing in the middle of a bunch of loose wires.
What are you doing?
I'm sorry. I woke you up, honey. Today is Philip's birthday, so I am going to hang up these happy birthday words.
I think my brother would be happy if you didn't decorate the room like a graveyard. Those white ribbons look like toilet paper. And what's on that table? Chocolate cake or a bomb? Moreover, today is not even his birthday.
Huh?
My mother hurriedly checked the calendar and realized that she was mistaken. Philip's birthday was a month later. You see, my mother's memory is not very good. She is also clumsy. Sometimes, I think the only talent she has is messing things up.
Oh, I have to take out the trash right now. But where's the key?
On top of the fridge.
I see. Thank you, child. So where's the wallet? I remember putting it with the house key.
Nope, you left it next to the TV yesterday.
By the way, can you see where my pen is?
On your bun. She really can't remember anything. And the worst thing is that sometimes she even forgets this beautiful daughter. The last time she took me to the supermarket, she left me in the children's play area. After she finished shopping, she went home. The supermarket staff waited, but no one picked me up. So they thought I was abandoned and called the police. Fortunately, I remembered the home address and was taken home safely in the police car. After that, I always had the feeling that no one who needed to be looked after was my mother. And guess who is a custodian? Next is my father. His favorite thing to do is letting me play this weird toys. He works at a toy factory and is having a big crisis with his new colleague.
You know, Zoe, being an adult is exhausting.
I'm old enough, Dad.
No, you don't understand. I had to fight at work every day to defend my point of view.
Those newcomers who started working that time would never understand the interests of children like me. I wanted to comfort my dad too, but the bear he just gave me was ugly. Is this Dad's new product?
Looks fun. I knew you would like it. It has wells under its feet. You can steer it in any direction. Other people's products are boring. Pretty Barbie dolls can be found everywhere.
He's right. But no girl can say no to a Barbie. Or the real bear can scare some kids off. Dad, I like this bear so much. I like Barbie too.
Okay, give me the bear. You don't need to comfort me. I'll buy you a Barbie later.
Can I have both at the same time? I can put the Barbie in the bear and run them around the room. Dad was surprised at the thought, suddenly hugged me and kissed me.
Oh, baby, you've given me a new idea. What about a Barbie? Worry controllable roller skates? I would definitely sell well.
I'm glad I've been able to help Dad, but there's something much more celebrated than it. when the yellow bus stopped by and took both Mom and Dad far away, I finally found a peaceful destination. Now, I just need to deal with the last problem, which is my brother Philip.
Wake up, Philip. It's 10 o'clock. You'll be late for school.
Huh? Oh, I'll wake up now.
It's actually only 7 o'clock, but I don't know. I need to wake him up as fast as I can. Look at him. His hair is messy, his clothes are stinky, and his body is as limp as a noodle. He's smart, but unfortunately, a real nerd. He just got into a prestigious university, but who cares? Girls these days only like handsome guys. After frantically preparing his books, Philip realized that the time was still early. He was immediately angry.
Zoe! Are you fooling me again?
You have 15 minutes to eat breakfast. And then we'll go jogging.
Why do I have to go jogging?
Don't you remember what you said yesterday? You cried and swore that you would pick Ivy up, didn't you? You also made me supervise you. Made you wake up early to practice.
Really? Why don't I remember anything?
I guess it's because you're too drunk.
I don't give him a chance to think. Pushing Philip out of the house, I know he hates exercising. But don't worry, I already have a plan. Our neighbors are not very friendly and have a lot of dogs. I just need to throw a stone over and they will go crazy. After the smelliest thing right now, no one else is Philip.
Ah! I hate you, Zoe!
Well, I have to warn you that this sport is not very safe. Unless you find a pack of muzzled dogs like me and a dog-fearing brother like Philip. For the next 2 weeks, I persistently help Philip move in the morning. Sometimes at night. As a result, he's noticeably healthier, even getting up early and taking a shower to avoid me and the dogs.
Wow, you look so different, Philip.
I'm still in the same room. Oh, look at this shoulder. It looks much firmer than before.
Philip was surprised. He hadn't even realized how much he had changed. The real nerd became a healthy, bright guy.
That, you see, the only bad workout is the one that didn't happen.
Philip finally realized my good intentions. He scratched his head and spoke with difficulty.
I'm sorry for saying I hate you.
I get it. I hate you too. Especially when you laugh at my height whenever you can.
I won't say you're homunculus anymore. So don't you think Ivy would notice me now?
Of course. Now you can date any girl that you want.
People always say that as a family, we should support each other. So I just encourage Philip to make him happy. I know that Ivy girl, she lives nearby, so she and Philip have studied together since childhood. She's so popular. I don't know why. Maybe it's because she has a hobby of turning the street into a catwalk with those fancy dresses. I really don't understand adult fashion sense. I thought Philip would be rejected. If Ivy liked him, she would have liked him a long time ago. Have you suddenly switched to drinking milk after decades of drinking coffee? I'm sure I'm not. So when I see Ivy take Philip home in her new car and kiss him goodbye, I'm shocked.
What just happened? Did she suddenly become severely nearsighted or something?
No, Ivy nodded when I cart. So we're a couple now. This is your candy. I bought a lot, but don't tell Mom.
Philip dumped the bag of candy in my hand and whistled back to his room, his whole body sparkling like a halo. I guess true love can make people change positively. In the following days, Philip is like a man living in the clouds. He doesn't read books anymore and hangs out with Ivy all the time. And when he's having dinner with his family, he's always talking about how beautiful Ivy is, how good Ivy is. And I officially retract my last words. Love only makes people crazy for the other person.
Are you sure she likes you for who you are? Or just your looks?
Hey, kids shouldn't talk like that. And Ivy is not a shallow person. You will understand later when you grow up.
Mom and Dad are both happy that Philip has a girlfriend, and they plan to invite Ivy over. Philip, of course, agrees and makes an appointment with Ivy to come to the next day.
Hi, Sister Ivy. My name is Zoe.
Oh, you're so pretty. Philip always compliments me on how smart and obedient you are.
I was pretty skeptical. Is it true, Philip?
Did I say that? Probably when I was drunk.
At first, Ivy is very cute. She's beautiful, polite, and know how to talk. She makes my parents laugh all the time, and she even helps my mother with the cooking. I just don't know why I don't like her at all.
At the dinner table, Ivy helps me tuck a napkin into my collar. I suddenly feel a pain in my neck, realizing that her fingernails has just scratched my skin.
Oh, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. Let me help you clean the wound.
She carries me into the kitchen and opens the first aid box, and the way she looks at me is not friendly at all.
Did you tell Philip I only love him for his looks?
I'm just kidding.
So what? It's not good for children to lie.
I'm not a kid. I'm very smart.
Being too smart is also a problem. You make it impossible for people to live in peace.
What do you mean?
Ivy crosses her arms and tells everything she thought was annoying. She thought that because my mom gave birth to me, her memory was deteriorated. And my father has trouble at work because his colleagues always thought that the products he made were due to his daughter's genius, not his efforts.
And Philip, too. Do you know how much pressure he feels because of you? He studies like crazy for fear of being laughed at, as stupid, or being compared to his genius sister.
No, that's not true.
Because you're a child, they always protect you. But you have no right to make their life so bad. They would be much happier without you.
Ivy made me feel bad about myself. Maybe I don't care about my family enough. I should have known that.
But don't worry. Everything will be fine.
Will you help me?
Of course. I will marry Philip and have many children. Very soon, people will realize how adorable babies really are. Children should be angels who bring laughter, not those who think themselves smart and torture others. A young granny like you will soon be hated.
No way! Now I was really angry.
How dare she talk to me like that?
I'm Zoe, my parents' favorite daughter, Philip's good sister. There's no way anyone can replace me.
Ivy, you know?
What?
Maybe I make everyone in the family really tired, but in the end, they will still love me unconditionally. It's something that an outsider like you can't understand. Not give Ivy time to react, I reach for the water bottle on the table and throw it at her, causing her to scream in panic. Mom, Dad, and Philip quickly appear, but couldn't stop me from rushing at her, punching and kicking.
What's going on, Zoe?
That's enough! You stop now! Let her go, Zoe!
My father lifts me up while Ivy denounces me.
I really apologized. I didn't mean to hurt Zoe, but she's so mad at me. She said she didn't want me to take Philip away, saying I didn't deserve him. Is that true, Zoe?
All eyes are on me. Do you think I'll deny it or condemn Ivy against it? I just need to say one simple sentence. I hate her. I don't want to see her anymore. My father and mother are surprised but do not blame me. Philip helps Ivy up, which touched her greatly.
I knew you would protect me.
No, Ivy. I think we should break up.
Huh? Why?
Zoe is my sister, and she likes everyone but you. That's the reason.
My dad gives me a hug while he kicks Ivy out of the house. Before the door closes, I stick out my tongue to tease her. I am only 7 years old. I may be smart, I may be heartless to many things, but I've always been the most loved person in the family.
And
आंध्रा के ग्रेनाइट को राजस्थान के मार्बल से जोड़े, एकदम टाइट, बॉन्ड टाइट। बंगाल के शीशे को यूपी के तांबे से जोड़े, एकदम टाइट, बॉन्ड टाइट। पंजाब के पीतल को हरियाणा के लकड़े से जोड़े, एकदम टाइट, बॉन्ड टाइट। केरल के टिकुड़ को कर्नाटक के गोल्ड से, एकदम टाइट, बॉन्ड टाइट। एमपी के मार्बल को गुजरात के लोहे से जोड़े, एकदम टाइट, बॉन्ड टाइट।
I couldn't believe my eyes. A hidden camera right in my room. This couldn't be happening. Who installed it? And how did I not see it? Hi, my name's Susan, and you would never believe the story I'm about to tell you. I wouldn't believe it either, and to be honest, I still don't. I'll start by saying that ever since I was a kid, I've been considered weird. Yeah, my hobbies are not what you'd call ordinary. I used to watch videos about conspiracy theories. I believed in ghosts and the afterlife. I saw signs in everything. My friends and parents had gotten used to my peculiarities a long time ago. My mom and dad were more concerned that I was doing well in school and not hanging with shady people. My friends, on the other hand, appreciated my sense of humor and openness. And all was well until the night when I first noticed something strange. My friends and I were coming home from the movie theater, discussing the movie and making plans. Usually, we walk together to the same intersection, and then we go our separate ways home. We wished each other good night, exchanged jokes, and I turned onto my street. I was in a good mood. I walked past the houses and smiled to myself. But the smile disappeared from my face when I put my hand in my pocket to get my headphones. The pocket was empty. Oh, damn. I lost my headphones that my parents had given me for my birthday years ago. Maybe I dropped them on the way? With a sigh, I headed back to the intersection, hoping that my headphones were still lying on the pavement somewhere. As I turned to the corner, however, I instantly forgot about losing them. My friends, who seemed to have gone home at the same time as I did, were standing at the same intersection where we said goodbye, arguing about something. I froze and opened my mouth to call out to my friends. Suddenly, Owen saw me. "It's Susan!" he yelled. The guy's faces changed, and they started running away. I was still standing at the intersection, not really sure what was going on. I had no choice but to turn around and go home, giving up on my lost headphones. So, what was that all about? I asked this question in our shared chat room. "What do you mean?" Owen replied immediately. "Don't make a fool out of me. I saw you at the intersection. You ran away as soon as you saw me." The chat was silent for about 5 minutes. I saw the guys were typing something, but they never sent it. I could bet that outside of the chat, they were discussing how to respond. "You're making things up again, Susan," finally wrote Tori. "Did you watch your weird reptiloid videos all night again?" The others responded with smiley faces. "Oh, really?" Of course, the best defense is offense. And actually, reptiloids do exist. I'll see how these geniuses laugh when the lizards take over the planet. I decided not to respond and tossed the phone aside. And these are my best friends? I watched the notifications from the shared chat pop on my phone all evening, but I didn't respond. Surely, they were making wisecracks about my imagination. But the strange things didn't stop there. In the morning on my way down to breakfast, I heard my parents talking, and I almost fell down the stairs. They clearly weren't ready for me to get up so early. "What do we need to talk about?" Dad asked. "I'd never had time to read the message. I had a lot of work to do." "John, you're being irresponsible about your role." Mom answered, "We need to say that Aunt Jacqueline is sick, and we need to visit her next week." "That doesn't sound believable, to be honest." "Well, what can I do? They told me to improvise, and I last acted in a school play about 20 years ago. What does it all mean? What kind of roles are they talking about?" Meanwhile, my parents finished their strange conversation, and my mother shouted, "Susan, breakfast is ready!" I had to go downstairs and pretend I didn't hear anything. Of course, my appetite was out of the question. Thoughts swirled in my head, one more suspicious than the next. My friends obviously wanted to discuss something without me. This has never happened before. We always did everything together and had no secrets from each other. My parents were up to something too, and made up some crazy story about Aunt Jacqueline. Just so you understand, my Aunt Jacqueline is a very rich and very unpleasant person. Even on her deathbed, she wouldn't want to have poor people like us hanging around her. So, the story my parents were going to tell me was a total fail. But that's not what surprised me. They said to improvise. Who's they? Ugh, all this weirdness is worthy of the Shane Dawson channel. I'd love to jump to a conclusion or two, but I had absolutely no clue as to what was going on. I wanted to keep a closer eye on my parents' behavior, and I decided not to communicate with my friends at all for now. I was so offended by what they said. I was so angry that they made me look like a freak. So I'll let them hang out without me until they admit what they did was wrong. And they can explain their bizarre behavior. Well, for the next few days, my parents didn't raise any suspicions, as if they knew I was watching them closely. We usually spent Friday nights together. We'd have a nice dinner, and then we'd sit in front of the TV and watch a movie. We have a rule in our family. We take turns choosing a movie. 1 week it was Mom, next week it was Dad, and the week after, it was my turn. If it wasn't for this rule, I would have only survived family movie nights for a couple of months. My parents would usually pick some old movie, and I would almost fall asleep in the middle of it. But when it was my turn, we always had a great time. Well, at least I did. This Friday, I was out of luck. My mother, as usual, chose some old sob story. But this time, I didn't manage to get any sleep. The movie was called The Truman Show, and it was about a man who one day discovers that his whole life was a reality show. There were cameras everywhere. Every event in his life was directed by a genius producer, and the people, even those closest to him, are just actors playing parts. I forgot how to breathe. The credits were rolling on the screen, and I still couldn't get my thoughts together. Susan, is everything okay? Mom put her hand on my shoulder. Yeah. I stared at her. They said to improvise. Mom's words played in my head like a broken record, and my friends discussing something behind my back and then pretending it didn't happen. This couldn't be happening. Of course I couldn't sleep that night. Rolling from side to side, I tried to calm down and prove to myself that there was no reality show featuring me. It was a ridiculous idea. I could write a book with my wild imagination. I decided to bring my teddy bear Barney to bed. When I was a kid, he always helped me fall asleep quickly. But at some point, I decided that sleeping with a teddy bear at my age was stupid. Since then, Barney had settled on the shelf above my desk. I haven't picked him up for such a long time, and I wish I hadn't. Once I looked at his cute face, I screamed and dropped the toy on the floor. No way! As I took Barney into my hands again and looked closely, I felt my insides freeze. A hidden camera. It was installed in the right eye of my teddy bear. Who installed it? And what was it filming? Is my whole life a scripted show, like in that movie? My parents came running into the room. When my mom saw Barney in my arms, she gasped and stared at my dad. Why didn't you tell me the truth? I screamed. What do you mean? Dad looked at Mom disapprovingly. Didn't you tell her everything? I should have, but I forgot. Susan, it's... You forgot? I threw the bear to the floor. Forgot to tell me that my whole life is a stupid reality show, and you're complete strangers to me. How could you forget that? Honey, Dad said softly, don't be so dramatic. What's he talking about? What do you mean dramatic? Now I knew what that strange remark from Mom meant. My parents suggested we talk about this in the morning over breakfast without getting too emotional. They took Barney and cautiously left the room, clearly afraid of making me more angry. I was in shock. What was I supposed to do now? Where to go if everything around me isn't real? I grabbed my phone and opened the group chat room. My friends, for days now, have been trying in vain to work things out with me by sending me funny stickers and asking how I was doing and how long I was going to stay mad. Stay mad? I know everything! Despite the late hour, my message was immediately read by everyone in the chat room. Barry was the first to respond. I knew it was a stupid idea. Well, you should have thought of something different, Monica replied. Susan, we're sorry we tricked you. We had no other choice. Owen added a crying smiley face. I started typing, feeling tears well up in my eyes. What do you mean there was no other way out? My whole life is ruined. Now I don't know what's true and what's a lie. Who are my real friends and who are the actors who are paid to pretend to be my friends? Sue? You're obviously overreacting, Tori said. I felt like smashing the phone against the wall. Overreacting? My whole life is a freaking reality show, and I'm overacting? Susan, I don't really understand what you mean. Barry stepped in again. We just wanted to surprise you. I know those headphones were dear to you, but the ones we got you are mind-blowing. What other headphones? I was totally confused about what was going on, and then my friends, interrupting each other, began to tell me their vision of what was happening. As it turned out, they'd long noticed that my headphones were barely alive. Barry, Owen, Tori, and Monica decided to chip in and buy me the coolest new headphones. And to make sure I would use them, they decided to steal my old headphones. And that's what my friends did that day at the movie theater. I swear, Sue, you're gonna go crazy when you hear those basses, raved Owen. Wait a minute. You wrote that you knew everything. What did you mean by that? I didn't know what to answer, Tori. I didn't want to look any weirder than I was. Okay, this part of the story seemed pretty believable. But what the hell was up with the camera in my room? That's what my parents told me at breakfast. We installed hidden cameras a long time ago, Mom explained. There's more than one in the house, one per room. But don't worry, we only turn them on when the whole family goes on vacation. I should have told you about it, but I forgot. I got carried away. Actually, it's strange that you've only noticed them now, dear. Daddy frowned. How do you clean your room? Again, the best defense is a good offense. But what about the one sentence that scarred me so much? Our friends invited us to a spa hotel next week to relax, to have fun. Mom said we were embarrassed that we weren't taking you with us.